Hi there, it's Thursday, which means live. How amazing. So welcome. My name is Tanya Uester from my page Botanicmy, an alchemy of soothing botanic ingredients. And welcome to today's session about Roman chamomile, one of my absolute favorite smells. And I guess I've got a love-hate relationship with Roman chamomile because when I was presented with Roman chamomile through my childhood years, or when someone gave me a cup of tea, I never really liked the flavor. And I guess it's probably because it was flavored instead of being the real plant. So yes, today we're going to talk about the real plant, the real Roman chamomile, especially if you've got an incredibly pure tested grade essential oil. So welcome. If you've just joined in, I'm obviously going live on Insta as well as Facebook today on both my Botanicmy pages. I can see Chucky's logged in on Instagram. Hello, wave. And I can also see that Jerry has started to log in on my Facebook page. Just a reminder, if you are coming into one of the pages, just go and pop something in the comments so I can give you a shout out so I can see that you're there. Otherwise, it doesn't tell me that you're there. Okay, so today is quite a nice essential oil, simply because I really like to assist people with supporting specifically gut health, because it's something I'm really experienced in and that I've come a long way with. I've had a very long journey with supporting my gut the natural way, because I literally went the pharmaceutical route and I didn't really get anywhere. So yes, I can just see Beverly is also just logged in on Insta. Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about a beautiful essential oil called Roman chamomile. And it's a very interesting one because from all the Roman chamomiles that I've purchased off a shelf before I discovered this very pure tested grade that is now my favorite brand, the smells were very off-putting. It's almost like it's, I'm not sure if it's a chemically smell, but there was definitely something in there that was just not working so well with my body. I can see Chris is just logged in all the way from the UK. Welcome, welcome. And also Mveli, I hope I said your name right. She's also saying, loving Roman chamomile, looking forward to the session. Oh, great. Then you just joined into the right session. Welcome. And I think the smell always used to be off-putting to me, and I didn't particularly like the taste either. And I think it's probably something I've grown accustomed to, because Roman chamomile is, guys, it's a powerhouse. It's one of those plants when you grow them in your garden. If you're lucky enough to be able to be close enough to a nursery where they sell quite a few of these medicinal plants, try and grab yourself some of it if you can. I've struggled in my area, but it's one of those plants that's very therapeutic to the plants that grows around it as well. So if you're a believer in companion planting, then obviously Roman chamomile is really, really good. So it's something to definitely get into your garden. I can also see Quibus is just logged in. Welcome, welcome. So there's going to be a lot of top tips today, and I'm also going to have some recipes to share, but I'm going to have to let you put in the comments which recipes you want, so then I'll just make sure that I get those off to you as soon as possible. So let's start going, because I think it's going to be quite a lesson today about Roman chamomile, because it's such a beautiful essential oil, and it can be used for so many different things. So let's get started. Before we go, actually, not just for humans, hey? Where'd we get that in the UK, you wonder? Chris, definitely. Your wife also uses the same brand as I do. And Roman chamomile is definitely an essential oil that you can get your hands on if you can't get hold of the plant to grow in your garden. And of course, let's just remember what beautiful plant it is. It's got these little daisy-like flowers. So really happy, really amazing plant. All right, so yes, Chris, you can get the essential oil. I'm not so sure about the plant in the UK. But I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get it there if you go and find a good nursery. All right, so before we carry on with the human side, I actually just want to make a side note here and sort of say, yay for Roman chamomile. And the reason why, it's actually one of the top 10 essential oils that vets like to use for animals. So here we're talking horses, cats, dogs, but not only our furry friends that we like to have around us in our homes, or maybe in a horse box or in a stable outside. Roman chamomile is also really good around rabbits, fish, reptiles, amphibians. I mean, who even thought of that? Yes, there's vets that use essential oils for their animals, and I think the reason it's such a successful oil around our furry or non-furry, in case of the reptile pets, is because it's got such calming properties. And let's actually talk about that. because here the calming properties is obviously for the animals, but also for the humans, right? So it's got a lot of esters in it. And ester is a functional group that results from the reaction between an alcohol and an acid, okay? And not alcohol, the vodka, remember? These are functional groups that we're talking about. But because of the chemical structure, when we use them aromatically, oils especially high in esters, and Roman chamomile is exceptionally high in esters, by the way. It's very relaxing and soothing and balancing. And for that very reason, Roman chamomile in a diffuser, for example, in a veterinary practice is really good because it helps to calm all the animals that are there sitting in those cages and not necessarily wanting to be there because they don't know what's going to happen to them. So yeah, definitely a good essential oil to have around aromatically. Also, don't overdose. Remember, we're working with teeny tiny bodies here, so treat them like teeny tiny babies, body weight wise. And obviously 1 drop or 2 drops in a diffuser is going to be a good enough concentration to start with. Also, Rita Patel just logged in. Welcome. Thank you for joining today. So also good for animals, not just for us humans. Okay, so the 3 words that sort of sum up Roman chamomile is bright, calming, and sweet. And as I said, the main chemical constituents are basically esters. So it's very high in geraniol, germacrine, nerol, and caryophyllene. And with that come very incredible properties. So the first one I would like to mention is that it has antihistamine properties. So really good if we start looking at an allergy kind of reaction, an allergic reaction. Roman chamomile is very often mentioned when you're trying to use natural remedies to support a specific health challenge in your body. Also very antibacterial and antifungal. Smells beautiful, by the way. Okay, that's not a chemical constituent. I just had to throw it in there. But the real Roman chamomile, if you get a pure tested grade essential oil, it smells utterly delicious. It is a great sedative. So for people who really struggle to switch off at night, for example, to get a good night's rest, Roman chamomile is one of those that you can definitely either apply to the bottoms of the feet. It's a really safe oil, so there's not a heavy dilution required at all. Or to put it in a diffuser because it is a really aromatic and beautiful smell as well. And then obviously it's also an immunostimulant. But I think one of the bigger things for me here is the emotional benefit that you get from using Roman chamomile, which we'll get to in a second. But more than that, I was actually doing quite a lot of research this morning specifically, and it is incredibly good with anthelmintic properties. So if we start looking, for example, in supporting your body with parasitic infections, Roman chamomile is very well known for something like that. So we've also just had Khara just log in. Welcome. So Mveli is saying she's using it a lot with her adaptive, which is, by the way, a blend that helps you. It's a very good name. Adapt to whatever life situations are thrown at you. All right. So it makes you more resilient. So she's using that with her adaptive blend at bedtime. So, and she's saying it's great to switch the brain off and calm the body. So there's a top tip from Veli. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And then basically, because of the anthelmintic, it's obviously one of those essential oils that's going to be really supportive to the gut. And that's obviously why this oil fascinates me, because with the listen to me, with the mind-gut connection, being so powerful and something that I'm really interested in because, hey, I love everything gut and microbe related, and it so heavy affects your moods and things. Obviously, it's going to be really beneficial to use this essential oil, specifically if your gut issues are related to a parasitic issue. So very supportive there. So let's start looking at... maybe let's start from the top. Let's start from the top uses that the Roman chamomile essential oil is used for. So obviously you can use it topically very effectively. You can use it aromatically, as I mentioned, incredibly good for mood support. And definitely if you're using a tested grade oil that has got a food supplement label on it, then obviously you can use it internally. Just always adhere to the safety instructions, okay? That's very important because these oils are incredibly potent. Very, very strong. So you need usually only 1 or 2 drops to have an incredible effect in your body. So the first thing, let's look at stress and shock. Oh, I can also see Irma's just logged in. Welcome. So the first one is stress and shock. And here, specifically when we're talking more seriously about a nervous or a psychotic shock. So something that's quite severe. And this is where history starts playing a role as well, which is quite incredible. The ancient Romans actually used Roman chamomile before they went into war. Now you can think what war does to your body and to your brain. Stress-wise, emotionally-wise, the damage that it actually causes. And they went off into war with Roman chamomile because they believed that it gave them courage and it cleared their minds. And I think the scientific research that is sort of now backing that up afterwards, after the war times, in other words, is that it is incredibly good for the nervous system. And what they're saying is basically the hippocampus, which is sort of what protects you when you go through very stressful events, right? It shrinks. It actually physically shrinks. And the Roman chamomile, so you sort of become blunted in a sense. There's just no easy way of putting that into layman's terms scientifically, right? So your hippocampus actually, it becomes restricted because it's your protection of experiencing the emotional shock again. So it's almost like you bury it. And obviously we've now learned through the years that burying things are not necessarily the best thing, and that you sort of need to process. It's actually better to go through a process where you process the shock, to try and work through it to get to a better place of emotional healing. And Roman chamomile can help with that, because what Roman chamomile does is it actually increases neurological activity. And there were some studies done where they actually showed how this supported people when they went through these incredible psychotic shock episodes, how it supported them in becoming a little bit more adapted and less fragile in a sense, right? So a really good essential oil to have around for specifically shock and stress-related mood conditions that you need support with. It's obviously really good because it's a flower. Remember, the flowers are incredibly good for all sort of skin-related support, the layers to the top of the skin, whereas the resins in the tree oils are usually for deeper skin layers. So Roman chamomile obviously being a flower, and the Roman chamomile essential oil being distilled from the flowers itself, is obviously going to be really good for, I'd say, dry, slightly irritated, and even aging skin. Can really have a lot of support from using the Roman chamomile. So adding a drop to your facial moisturizer in the morning is a really good idea. And besides that, you're also then going to get the aromatic benefit, which is going to be really soothing and calming. All right, it's really good for internal, for the gut, calming down the gut as well. And you guys will see on my Science Monday post, just go scroll back on my Facebook page. You'll definitely be able to access a peer-reviewed science article there about how it supports the gut as well. It's really good for discomfort where you feel it in your lower back area. And also, you know, that nerve that sort of runs from the back of your spine over your bum, next to the side of your leg, all the way down. And there's a lot of us that usually struggle with that, especially runners and those kind of things. Definitely an essential oil that's good for that. Oh, Quibus is saying, work is calling, bye-bye. Ooh, he's sneaky watching these essential oil trainings, which is really cool. No worries, you know where you can go and fetch the replay. Thank you for coming anyway. So basically, it's really good for discomfort in the lower back area. Really good for when you can't fall asleep because you're overexcited. Now, this can be interpreted in different manners, right? So you do get a lot of these high achiever people or overachiever people, which I obviously associate really well with, that when we go to bed tonight, we literally can't switch off. Our brains just go. Or you wake up in the middle of the night at a certain time, and then you start making these ludicrous lists in your head. Besides putting a sort of notepad and a pen next to your bed and start writing the things down, you could also try and just put some Roman chamomile next to the bed and maybe put another drop behind your ears or underneath your feet, because it's supposed to calm the overexcitement down enough. So what am I going to do today? All the overexcitement of the lists and things, it's really supportive for, with that as well. Oh, I can see Catherine's just logged in onto the Insta page. Welcome. Really good seeing you on. Also for going in the lower belly area. So when we start looking at menstrual cramps, I'd say, and even when you start having symptoms related premenstrual, Roman chamomile is a really good and calming and soothing essential oil to be applying topically to the lower belly area. Really good for soothing ear discomfort as well. So just putting some drops around the ear. Please remember, never inside the ear. It's a very sensitive area. Not a good place to put a really strong, potent essential oil, especially undiluted. So definitely around the outside of the ear. But I think because of the calming properties, it's really good for when you're feeling angry and irritable and perturbed. It's a really good essential oil to have around for that. Also, by the way, insect bites. It's really calming for insect bites. So if you are really keen to make yourself an essential oil rollerball that's going to support the itchy scratchy until you scratch it open kind of thing, if you're one of those, I'm one of those. I'm quite allergic to mosquitoes actually. So if you want to make a rollerball that's going to assist you with that itch, and you want to get hold of that recipe, go and put in the comments for me itchy. So that's the key word. Go and type in itchy in the comments, and I will be sending that recipe to you at the end of this live. Okay, so that's quite a nice essential oil roller blend that I got in one of my favorite resources this morning. I usually like to apply just tea tree neat, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends what it is that has actually bitten me and how hectically I've scratched it, I guess. So definitely, if you are interested in learning about that insect roller or insect bite roller, just go and put in itchy in the comments. That's the key word, all right? And then, especially when you have eyes that are really itchy during the pollen season, I'd say, Roman chamomile is a definite good one to try. I can see the itchies coming through. Yes, that's great. I'll be sending that to you right at the end of the live, so just keep on putting those comments in there. So for itchy eyes, definitely Roman chamomile is a really good essential oil to apply. I like to use jojoba as a carrier oil on my face because it's really nice to the, it's very similar to the sebum of the face. So it's very nourishing. It's not oily. It goes into the skin really quickly. So diluting some Roman chamomile, and because it's such a safe oil, I'd say 1-to-1 ratio is good enough. Just putting the Roman chamomile around the eyes. When they become really itchy during pollen season, it's going to be really good because remember, it's got those antihistamine properties as well. And then definitely, if we start looking at the beauty side here, so the self-care, and there's a lot of focus about self-care at the moment online, and I think there's a very good reason for that. There's a lot of people really struggling with what is going on, and whereas some people have processed the grief and are moving through and starting to progress again, I think there's a lot of people that started really late with the process and they're really struggling. So self-care is everywhere, and I'm definitely one of those people that I'm focusing a lot more attention on it. And I do have to say, this morning my favorite yoga instructor online, she was saying, I just saw Anesta log in as well, welcome, and Tanya Hoffman. Oh, you were obviously there from the start because you heard the word itchy. Okay, cool. So for Anesta, if you've just logged in for an itchy bite roller for insect bites, if you want to get hold of that recipe, just put itchy in the comments. But basically, the self-care thing is quite important. And my yoga teacher this morning said, how are you? And it sort of put me back for a second, because I think mothers and nurturers and healers are always so concerned with helping those around them that very rarely they stop and think for a second, how am I? I mean, we're doing the self-care rituals, we're looking after ourselves because we know if the cup is empty, we can't help other people, we can't serve other people, we can't nurture them. But do we ever sit and think, how am I? And that's sort of just triggered something in me. So I really took extra care this morning. And why I'm bringing that in is I also read this morning that Roman chamomile is exceptionally good for unruly hair. Now, this is a side benefit, I'd say, I've sort of become used to over the last couple of months and years as I've become a little bit more healthy. I used to have incredibly long, very thick, very, very thick hair when I was a child. And I was a dancer, so my hair was always long. I never cut it. I had these huge buns at the back of my head, man. I mean, they were that size. And I remember I used to have quite a lot of headaches because my head was so heavy with the hair that it put a lot of strain on my neck. So now, obviously, I keep it a lot shorter. But I have to say, through my university and my high school years, when my nutrition wasn't that great, because of all the gut issues that were compounding, and me at that stage not listening to my body yet and not realizing what I was doing to it with all the painkillers and all the stuff that I was doing for the injuries that I had, I think my hair really started thinning out and my hair became more manageable. I'm like, oh, my hair is cool now. It's starting to cool. I'm really enjoying this, because I used to have very straight hair as a child, by the way. But as my journey sort of progressed in living a healthier lifestyle, going more organic, trying to steer clear from pharmaceuticals because they were causing so much damage in my body, really eating healthily, starting to take very nice supplements through the help of my functional medicine practitioner, and then starting to incorporate things like essential oils and using plant-based products in my home, especially for my hair. Guys, I cannot tell you how thick and bushy my hair has become, okay? So it's almost becoming incredibly unruly. So I tried something new this morning. I've got a DIY recipe at home, which I call my heat spray, but it's actually more a nourishing root to tip serum. I don't necessarily like putting silicones in my hair, so I've made my own home sort of serum for my hair. If you're interested in that recipe, by the way, just go put in the comments here. I'll send you, oh, heat. No, let's call it heat. Let's focus on heat, because it's technically a heat spray, but it can be very nourishing to the tips as well. So if you're interested in that recipe, go and type heat in the comments and I'll send you that recipe afterwards. But basically what I did is I used my heat spray this morning after washing and conditioning my hair. And then I added 3 drops of Roman chamomile to that treatment before I applied it to my hair. So if you're interested to know whether the Roman chamomile, which they say is incredibly anti-frizz and really helps to calm down unruly hair like mine, which is just so incredibly thick and there's just so much of it, I will check back on my page next week Tuesday. I usually do a testimonial Tuesday or a tip Tuesday. And then I'll just go and make sure that my post for Tip Tuesday next week is going to be specifically on whether the Roman chamomile did what it said it's going to do. Okay, so yeah, definitely if you want to hear if the Roman chamomile worked, check back next week Tuesday on my Botanically page, both on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'll report back what the Roman chamomile did for my hair. Okay, I just want to obviously give it some time to see if it actually works. Yes, so there's a top tip. And then when we start moving from there, I can see there's some comments coming through. So it's heat, and definitely the other one was obviously itchy. So the itchy bite roller, if you want that recipe, go and pop that in the comments. And then for the heat spray or the sort of the serum for the roots, that's going to be really good for your ends of your hair. Just go and type in heat, all right? And I'll get that off to you right after this live. So let's, I think, close off, because today was a lot of information, right? Roman chamomile is just an incredibly useful essential oil to have around. By the way, it's also found in quite a few blends made by my favorite essential oil company, because of the supporting benefits and the calming benefits it has for specifically discomfort physically, but also emotionally, right? So if you want to that information, just pop that in the comments as well. I'll get that off to you. But there's quite a few blends that actually has Roman chamomile in it because of the supportive benefits that it has. But let's close off, I think, with the top things. Number one, for the mood, especially when you've had a very severe shock, right? A very, very stressful event in your life. And remember, very stressful doesn't necessarily have to be war, like the people that went to war with Roman chamomile. A lot of people experience certain things in their lives differently and to different grades. So something that may seem very little, like that might be very a small stress element in someone's lives could be really serious for someone else. So that's also a very objective thing. But if you do have someone that's gone through an incredibly stressful event or shock, then please remember about Roman chamomile. It's one of those absolutely amazing things. It's also really good for the insect bites, together with that recipe that I'm going to send you if you did put the word itchy in the comments. And I think the other one that I was really surprised about and really pleased about this morning is the incredible anthelmintic, so antiparasitic support that it can provide for the body, which for me is good news because that supports the gut. Anything that supports a good, healthy gut for me is magic. And then the last thing is definitely, again, on the emotional side, but even if you haven't had the shock, please remember that Roman chamomile is going to be supporting you from feeling frustrated to feeling purposeful. I mean, and how relevant is that in the current times at the moment? I think there's a lot of people that are incredibly frustrated with what's going on around them. They may not at this moment yet have employed the techniques, the holistic techniques, small little steps every single day to start moving them in the right direction of being able to deal with what is going on in the world right now. So if you're feeling frustrated, start a self-care routine and perhaps get some Roman chamomile and see when you're adding that into your daily wellness routine whether it can make a difference for you. It probably will. It's a really incredible essential oil. Please don't go and buy the 20 rand thing off the shelf. It's going to be lab synthesized. It's going to be just a specific chemical constituent. It's probably going to smell good, but it's not necessarily going to have the supportive benefit for your body. So if you are going to be using an essential oil to support your body mood-wise and therapeutically wise, always get a tested grade oil. Make sure that it's 100% pure. All right, so that's rounding off Roman chamomile today. I hope you learned a thing or two. I think it's an absolutely beautiful essential oil. What I will do is I'm going to give you a tummy trouble recipe, which comes from one of my favorite essential oil source resources. And if you're using an essential oil brand that is tested grade, that is safe for internal use, that has a food supplement label, very important, on the outside of the bottle, a really good tummy trouble capsule, according to this very good resource, is adding 1 drop of Roman chamomile, 1 drop of peppermint, and 1 drop of thyme. And you place these essential oils into a capsule with some carrier oil, and you can drink this capsule every 5 hours. Do not exceed 5 capsules in 24 hours. These things are incredibly potent, okay? So there we go. I'll pop that in the comments as well, that recipe, or maybe I'll just edit the post and add it at the top. That tummy trouble capsule. 1 drop Roman chamomile, 1 drop peppermint, and 1 drop thyme. Hope to see you all again next week, Thursday, for my next single essential oil. I must say the options are becoming fewer and fewer because we are already on episode, is it 20 or 21 today? I forget now. We are quite far along in the series, so we'll see if there are any singles left. If not, then we might be starting a new series soon. All right, so thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys all next week, Thursday. Cheerio.